you know.
Yeah, because you don't seem like a bitter, unforgiving person. You seem like you are pretty centered. I'm surprised that that still happens. I guess, I mean, I have that with people too, but.
Well, you know, first of all, he came in for 2 or 3 days, and he really enjoyed being with Dave and I, because it was like a big cashmere hug. And he's not used to that. Everybody was lovely to him, and you know, everybody was thrilled with what he was doing on Soldier's Angel, and Dave was filming him from every angle. Dave was hanging upside down from the top of the stairs with a flip camera, and you know, he had cameras everywhere, and Lindsey felt a part, you know, and he could not deny how beautiful our situation was and how much fun we were having. And this is a very serious song that we were doing. And we called him because I said to Dave, I don't think we could do this song without Lindsey. I think that he's the only person who can pull my demo of this song off, because it's so serious and it's very, very old time, Stevie and Lindsey. And I said, and we did try to record it, and we recorded it great, but it came out very more eerie and creepy, kind of, you know. And it didn't, but it wasn't brutal. And I say that in the film, it's not brutal. And how do you know, we couldn't figure out how to go from my piano demo to a real recording of it. And we were to the point where I was gonna just use the demo. But I was writing it when I did the demo, so I was stopping and starting, and they tried to fix that, and it was jumping. And so I finally just said, Dave, I think we're gonna have to call Lindsey. And of course, Dave's like, let's call him now. And it came up, and you know, within 2 days we had recorded the song, and it came out amazing. And I think he and I both realized that it gave us both a moment of clarity that we could be in a studio together or in a house together and be working on a song and not be so Lindsey and Stevie, you know, because you know, when you have a love affair like Lindsey and I had, it never goes away. And it's never, nobody ever, in our case anyway, nobody ever really got over it. And so the war that goes on between Lindsey and I is like the war of the worlds. It's the war of why aren't we still together. For Lindsey, it's the war of if we hadn't joined Fleetwood Mac, you and I would have gotten married and moved back to San Francisco and had children and still did our movie. I mean our career. Our movie would have been a movie. And he feels that way to this day. So he's never been able to quite let that go.
He's a serious guy.
He's a very, very serious guy.
I was like, smile, Lindsey.
Yeah.
I just want to give him a hug.
And and you know, we got him to smile. We got him to laugh. And I mean, obviously, I didn't go out with that guy because he was like a jerk. I went out with him because he was gorgeous and he had a beautiful smile and a wonderful laugh, and he was a lot of fun in the beginning. And then, like men and women do, people get possessive and consuming and all powerful and wanting to run the show completely. And of course, you saw it in the film.
Yeah.
For me, it's like I'm gonna either you let me drive with you or I'm not gonna do it.
Oh, when he gives you the little songwriting tip, when he's like, you can't go from first to second person.
Well, see, I mean, and see, if he can just learn that. If he can learn not to tell, he should know better by now than to say, I think you should change the tense of that verse. Because it's like, I'm just going to turn right around and say, what I did say is, really, would you say that to Bob Dylan? I think that, you know, on It's All Right, Ma, I'm Only Dying, you should like say, it's all right, Ma, you're only dying. Because Bob Dylan would really say to you, it's not what I say.
Right.
This is my thing. What I say, you can produce, you can add a few chords here and there, but you cannot change the heart and soul of my song. And so that was you know, when he said it's a rule of thumb, That was a bad thing to say. Because I don't have rules. And that's why I never took any music.
That's what I love also. Did they show that clip where you're saying, yeah, where you're like, I'm just letting it flow, and
right.
you go through different time increments,
yeah.
and
you don't see, since I never took piano lessons, I don't know if something that I'm doing is wrong. And every time I would say over the last 35 years, I think I'm going to take piano lessons, everybody would say, oh, no, don't do that, because if you do, then you'll have rules. And the way you write is so not rule-esque that if you start to have rules, you'll start writing songs like everybody else. And I took 1 month of guitar lessons, classical guitar lessons, 1 month, 4 weeks. And I learned enough, you know, to manage to write Goldust Woman and Landslide, Lady from the Mountains, and you know, I got a lot. I got what I needed in that 1 month. So I kind of tell people, you know, the little writers that are coming along that ask me, I said, you don't really have to take tons and tons of music lessons. Just get enough. Just get 10 chords. You know, and I never took a piano lesson, so I mean, I don't even think you have to take piano lessons. I think you can just go sit at the piano and play around with it, and when you find something that sounds good, record it.
right.
And you're done. You know, you don't really have to be a genius.
Here's another thing about you. You don't seem mean or like a mean girl or like competitive at all with other women, and I've always loved how unifying, how woman-friendly, I don't know if that's a gross way to say it, but like your music isn't, you know, like, shut up. It's like, and Laurie and Sharon have been with you forever, and
right.
you just seem like you're not competitive in that way with women.
No.
And I've always wondered, like back in the day, your contemporaries, say Linda Ronstadt or Ann Nancy or something like that.
Right.
What was the feeling back then with all you women kind of coming up?
Well, first of all, before Fleetwood Mac, there were no girls. You know, I mean, the Linda Ronstadts and the Hearts and all that, they weren't around. So I mean, they were around, but they weren't in our life. So it was all boys. I was really the only girl. And but when I joined Fleetwood Mac, I had Christine, and the whole reason that we were able to join Fleetwood Mac was because Fleetwood Mac, the boys had said to her, John and Mick well, John and Mick, really. I can't think of another one because Lindsey wasn't there yet. John and Mick and Christine came to Los Angeles, and they said to Chris, we found the guy, but he comes as a package. He comes with a girlfriend, and we're not getting him without her. And she's a really good singer, and she writes songs, but we realize we already have a girl singer, so do we really? So it's up to you, Chris. We'll have dinner with them, and if you like her, then we'll ask them to join the band. If you don't like her, then we won't ask them to join the band.
A little bit of pressure there.
On her. So we went to dinner, and we had a ball, and I just adored Christine. Chris was 5 years older than me, but we were like 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. My math is so good. She was 32, so she was really young too, you know, and I was like 28. So all of a sudden, I had this great woman in my life. I had a best friend in my band. And Chris and I made a pact from the very beginning that, you know, she knew all the famous people. Stevie Nicks used to carry her books to school. She hung out with Eric Clapton and all of those, and Jimmy Page and all she knew all of them well. And we said to each other, we will never be treated like second-class citizens. If we're sitting in a room with all those famous guys, we will be as famous as them, and they will respect us, or we will walk out. And so we kind of went in with such an attitude, the two of us, that we were a force to be reckoned with.
Nice.
Yeah.